If your cholesterol levels are creeping up and you're thinking, but I'm eating healthy, welcome to midlife. Today we are talking about the 5 heart-healthy foods that can help lower your dreaded cholesterol levels, even after midlife and even without dieting. Welcome to Healthy Her Midlife, the podcast for women who want real, natural solutions to feel strong, calm, and confident in their bodies again. I'm Christine Roberson, a certified nutrition consultant and health coach. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Healthy Her Midlife, and this week we're talking about 5 heart-healthy foods that can help lower your cholesterol. And really, we're talking about that dreaded LDL cholesterol, and that is considered the bad cholesterol in our cholesterol numbers. And listen, it can happen to the best of us. When we hit our menopausal years and our estrogen levels start to decrease, that causes a shift in what doctors call our lipid panels, and that will mess with your cholesterol levels. You may be somebody who's always had excellent cholesterol levels. They've always been very low and very healthy. And then all of a sudden, your LDL has creeped up. Maybe your triglycerides have creeped up a little bit. And you're wondering, what happened? What did I do? It could be that you didn't do anything. It could be that the way that you've always eaten before was perfectly fine because your body was producing so much estrogen that it was protecting your heart. But now that we don't quite have that much estrogen anymore, we have lost some of that heart health protection. And that is how our cholesterol levels can creep up. You don't need a diet. You just need to pay a little bit more attention to some things these days. So today, I'm giving you 5 foods that will help lower your cholesterol levels that you can incorporate into your real life. Okay, food number 1, oats. Oats really are boring in the best way. Oats contain soluble fiber, and that soluble fiber is kind of like a little scrub brush with that LDL cholesterol. So the obvious choice would be oatmeal for breakfast, but you could also sprinkle oats onto your yogurt parfaits. You could also make overnight oats. You can even add a scoop of oats to your smoothies. And not a lot of people think about this, but savory oats is a real thing. You just cook up a normal batch of oatmeal, and instead of adding sweet things like berries and applesauce or brown sugar, skip all the sweet stuff and add more savory things. You could add tofu scramble. You could add roasted or sauteed vegetables. It really is delicious, and it's really a thing. And if you hate oatmeal, don't force yourself with it. Try just throwing oat bran in your smoothie or creating those little energy balls that we all see on Pinterest. And actually, I have some recipes on my website, healthyhermidlife.com/recipes will give you my recipe database. And I actually have at least one, but I might have a couple different energy ball recipes that include oats. But the goal here is consistency with it. Okay, food number 2 is beans and lentils. Beans really are one of the true magical heart helpers because they combine protein and fiber together into one. So some ideas here is you can add a scoop of beans or chickpeas or lentils to your salad, have lentil soup for lunch, or replace your meat in tacos with black beans. You can even take white beans and blend them up to add to a creamy pasta sauce. And while we're on the topic of beans, sometimes people refer to them as the magical fruit. And if that is your issue with them, start small. Start with maybe a quarter cup of beans and work your way up to eventually 1 cup of beans per day. Make sure if you are consuming canned beans that you rinse them thoroughly. This will also help with that gas problem and bloating problem that some of us get with beans. You can also try simmering them in water for a little while, even the canned ones, before you eat them, and consume them slower than you normally think you could or should. Okay, the third food is nuts, specifically walnuts and almonds. Nuts may be small, but they're a powerhouse. They're going to shift your lipid, your fat profile, to the healthy fat range. We're trying to get that profile toward the unsaturated fat range. So some examples of incorporating nuts into your diet would be to just consume 1 small handful of nuts as your snack in the afternoon. Obviously, you can also add them to salads and even oatmeal. And even some almond butter on top of a whole grain slice of toast with some berries or banana slices on top is wonderful. The fourth food I want you to consider is ground flax or chia seeds. And this is probably the easiest food to incorporate into a busy lifestyle because you're just going to sprinkle them on top of things. You can sprinkle them on yogurt, oatmeal, salads, and you can incorporate them into smoothies as well. Aim for 1 tablespoon as you're serving. I saved the best food for last because food number 5 is soy products. Soy is a great protein source, and it's so much better when you're looking at ways to lower your cholesterol levels because soy is unsaturated fat versus meat options, which are all saturated fat. The American Heart Association recommends that you limit your saturated fat to no more than 6% of your daily caloric intake. It is well established and pretty much at this point a proven fact that saturated fat increases your LDL cholesterol levels. And where do we get our saturated fat? Saturated fat comes from all animal products, both meat and dairy and eggs. And then on the plant side, it comes from coconut and from avocado. So if the American Heart Association is recommending 6% of our daily calories come from saturated fat, here's the math. 1 gram of saturated fat is 9 calories. If you are on a 2,000 calorie diet, which I don't even know of one single midlife woman who is on a 2,000 calorie diet. This works well for men, but for the sake of math, we're going to go with 2,000. So let's see if my math works out. So 1% of 2,000 would be 220 calories. So 6% would be, you get 120 calories of saturated fat per day on a 2,000 calorie diet. How many grams of fat is that? Well, I already said ahead of time, 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. So we are talking about really about 12 grams of fat per day, of saturated fat per day, not fat in general, but just the saturated fat on a 2,000 calorie diet. So let's say you're more realistically on a 1,500 calorie diet. It's about 9 grams. So 1,500 calorie diet, probably about 9 grams of saturated fat that you could have per day. That might seem very doable until you look at 1 ounce of cheddar cheese is about 4 or 5 grams of saturated fat. 1 ounce, that's 1 cube. 1 cube of cheese is half of your daily saturated fat. This is why soy products are such a better option for you. That was a lot of math. And this week's video is really timely for me because I get my blood work done annually. And when I got my results back, my cholesterol, my LDL cholesterol, went from 89 a year ago to 118 this year. And that is in the wake-up call stage. Anything over 100 on your LDL is concerning. It's more of a wake-up call that you need to tighten up that diet. So like I said, it could happen to any of us. My blood work was drawn right after the holidays, and clearly I took a little bit of time off with my heart-healthy diet. And the thing about LDL cholesterol is it is very changeable. You have power to reduce that LDL cholesterol without medication, completely with your lifestyle choices. And the biggest lifestyle choice is to eliminate or severely cut your saturated fat intake. And another sneaky way that saturated fat can get to us, and I think this is what happened to me, is a lot of pastries and desserts have a lot of saturated fat in them as well. My boyfriend brought home a 5-pack of brownies from the store, and I looked at the nutrition label. It had 10 grams of saturated fat per serving. Yeah. Saturated fat can really get to us in those processed packaged foods. So it may take me 2 or 3 months to get my LDL cholesterol levels back down, but I'm bound and determined to do it. And when I get those levels down again, I will report back to you. So here is a simple 7-day plan that you can try to reduce your cholesterol levels, and that I'm doing as well. Are you ready? It's really simple. Just pick 2 of the foods I have mentioned to incorporate every day or almost every day. Consistency matters here more than anything else. You don't have to be perfect, but you do need to be consistent. I'm choosing to get my oats in every day, and I'm going to try to get my beans in most days as well. And on the days that I'm not doing beans, I'm doing soy. So tell me in the comments, which 2 foods are you going to choose? And if you would like help personalizing your plan to fit your busy schedule and your dietary preferences, check out my website at healthyhermidlife.com/coaching for my complimentary wellness call. It's not a lecture or a diet plan. It's a calm conversation between you and I to put together a very actionable plan that you can incorporate today. All right, ladies, that's all I have for you this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what foods you're going to try, and if you enjoyed this episode, and are you concerned about your cholesterol levels? And if you enjoyed this episode, please give it a like, give it a share, and don't forget to subscribe and follow Healthy Her Midlife, the podcast, on all of your favorite apps and devices. Thank you for joining me this week, and I'll see you next time on Healthy Her Midlife. Thanks for spending time with me on Healthy Her Midlife. If today's episode spoke to you, download your free Midlife Metabolic Reset Guide or book a coaching call at healthyhermidlife.com. See you next time.